Time for another cup of tea with myself and Gonzo. Gonzo, the transfer window is well and truly open.
Yeah, it's amazing. I can barely keep up with it, to be fair. Actually, my old phone broke, so I had that thing where the courier delivers a new phone. So I had a new phone delivered today, and you have to swap over your contacts and all the rest of it. So yeah, I hurriedly got the 4G going to find out who had signed, and yeah. So, but the date has not come through yet. I think I'm still waiting for the news to process.
Yeah, it's a fantastic transfer window if you're an Everton fan or an Arsenal fan. Maybe if you're a Huddersfield fan, they're doing good business. Bournemouth have done some quite good business as well. We should be dragging our feet a little bit. Players went back to pre-season today with just one new signing, so that must have been quite fun. I've seen the West Ham Twitter account constantly putting Zabaleta and stuff today. They don't have much options really, do they?
They did a video and when they pulled in a car park, people probably seen it, but Andy carried all his hair down. He was like he was in a like he was in a Timotei advert or something, and it all went into slow-mo and he flicked his hair back, and it was like Axl Rose walking into the West Ham training ground or something. Yeah, quite funny really, but not a lot else happening apart from the long flowing locks, Rapunzel-like locks of Andy Carroll.
Well, thank you very much for you guys joining us tonight. We're obviously going to chat about the strikers. A few things have happened since we last spoke. We'll also touch on David Gould's TalkSport interview he did. He kindly rang up TalkSport and had a chat with him. Figuli might be on his way out. Enner is on his way out. Update on the season tickets as well. So we'll a few things to get through, Gonzo. But first of all, someone I didn't mention there, he signed a new 5-year deal, Mr. Ogbonna. Were you happy to see that Ogbonna signed on the dotted line?
Very much so. Very, very much so. I don't think Ogbonna would look out of place in any one of the top teams, actually. I think he's a very good centre-back. He's left-footed, so it gives, particularly when you're playing a two, it gives the centre-back pairing balance. He's very good. He dovetails very well with Winston Reid as well. He's got versatility, so not that he hasn't ever been deployed there, but he can play at left back. He's played at left back for Italy and of course Juventus, and he's settled. I really like him. He's a damn fine player, really.
Is it risky? 39 years old, 5-year deal. Has it got a slight risk element to it?
No, I don't think so. I think in these modern days, whereby particularly people in China and perhaps some other foreign markets are quite happy to buy players sort of in their mid-30s for a substantial fee, I don't think it's such a risk. He's also an Italian defender. They're quite smart. They box quite clever. He's been schooled in the dark arts, if you like, of defending in the way that only Italians know best. I don't think so. I think it's a good sign. It's only positive from my point of view.
Yeah, what I will say, I mean, I really like him. I think him and Reid together is sort of like, he struggled to convince me there's a better centre-back pairing outside the top six together than them two. I love those two players, so I'm happy with it. Same reasons for you. But I think we're now starting to see, over the last couple of seasons with contract renewals, I think we're starting to see on one side there's the future of West Ham and the dead window on the other side. I think the split is becoming more and more obvious now. There's big deals being handed out to the key players at West Ham. There's a lot of people that fit into that key category now, whether it's Creswell or not. But then you've got players like our keeper who never got a new deal. It makes you think if he does belong over there because he never got handed a new one. But the reason I think Ogbonna got handed a new one now, you might think I'm being a bit weird, and this ties in with the striker conversation we already have. I think they're trying to get some players signed up before we make our wage structure. Because right now, when Antonio signed his new deal and when Ogbonna signed his new deal, when they go in to discuss their wages, the top dollar at our club is 70 grand a week. Or 80 if you believe Carol's on that. But I think it's about 70 basic. 4 bonuses, 70 grand. So they're going in trying to get 70 grand a week because that's the top buck. They're working off 70 grand a week. I think as soon as we get a striker, and if he's on 100 grand a week, if Ogbonna goes to negotiate after that striker's arrived, he's working off a 100 grand a week top dollar. He's thinking, well, I'll have 80 then. I won't have the top pay, but I'll have 80. And I wonder if this is why they're trying to tie up players quickly to say, well, you're getting top dollar, but it's a way to change very quickly.
I think it's a decent theory. It's a decent shout. There's certainly a clearing of the decks going on, and I wouldn't be surprised, and everyone's a bit sort of, down in the dumps about it. But listen, two things are either happening. We're either clearing the decks and we're not going to sign any players, or we're clearing the decks and we're going to sign someone. I think we seem to be getting rid of quite a few numbers. The rumours, I'm sure we'll get onto about Faguli as well, and Snodgrass and quite a few. I would be surprised if we're getting rid of a few of these 30, 40, 50 grand a week players. And I think you're right. It would not surprise me at all to see us sign a couple of players on big money.
Yeah, well, that's my theory anyway. I think Lanzini and Obiang's going to sign in the summer as well. That'd be good to start calming the nerves about Lanzini. But what I will say is, I think West Ham fans have been quite calm about Lanzini. I don't think I've seen anyone going, "Oh, we better keep him." I think everyone's quite comfortable that he's going to stay. Well, let's talk about the rumours then. The guy that's on our thumbnail, Mr. Hernandez, we spoke about him last week very briefly. We touched on him and said he's available. Do you think we'll go for him? Would you like him? Blah, blah. Now we are going for him. Have you had a little bit more of a thought process to the rumour?
Not really, no, because you sprung it on me, but you did say in the last show, you said, I know you like this guy. And I did, so all my thoughts on Hernandez were done some considerable time ago. It's just, as I said, he's got that knack of finding space in the box. He's one of those small players that can head the ball, and he doesn't need to be tall because he can just pull off his marker, gain a couple of yards, head the ball in. He seems to have added an additional dimension to his game as well. I was started to compile a little video the other day, which YouTube basically they basically squashed and said, no, you can't do that, because I'd used some footage from Real Madrid, so I couldn't do that. I couldn't do the thing anyway. But he seemed to have added some long distance goals to his game, and the footage I'd seen, he seems to be getting involved in the build-up play, which is never traditionally his game. So I think perhaps he's an even better player than he certainly was when he left Manchester United. It's an absolute no-brainer, and particularly at that price. There's a player like that who can guarantee goals, and he does guarantee goals in any league, in the German league, in the Premier League, or in La Liga. That guy guarantees goals, and at 12, 13 million, I think you just really pay him what he wants and get him involved.
I think the 30 million price tag is why so many people are really keen to this happen. It's a bargain, regardless of what his wages are. You offset his wages through the low transfer fee with what you're paying for. I mean, he's £1 million more than what we paid for Snodgrass, if you want a rule of thumb. Last year, I don't mind what I like German football. It's probably the only league I watch quite a bit of, and I don't think he was that good last year, believe it or not, but he still scored 11. He went at one point, he went over 3 months without scoring a goal in the Bundesliga. My worry is if he sort of took that over here, fans would get on his back very quickly if he went 3 months without a goal in the Premier League. But the whole Leverkusen club were a shambles last season. They were all a shambles. They're having to clear out over there, not because they're getting rid of Deadwood, because it's their top players that are leaving. The club's strange things are going on at Leverkusen, but he still scored 11. And if that's him having a poor season, it makes you wonder what you do when he had a good one. You can be a bit temperamental, but I don't mind that in a player as long as they use it in the correct way, not a Diafasaka way. That's the wrong way to use it. But there is a good way to use your aggressive side, if you like. But it can be a bit of a cheat, but then Lanzini can be as well. But are you confident we'll get this done, Gonzo, or are you thinking he's too good for us and there'll be too many big clubs sniffing around at that price?
I don't think the big clubs necessarily sniff around. He's played for big clubs. He's played for Manchester United and he's played for Real Madrid, and he wasn't a guaranteed starter for either. He's in that sort of next level down, if you like. But that next level down is still far better than any striker we have at West Ham United. The thing I'm not confident about, I wouldn't say I'm confident about anything at the moment. I'm just hopeful. Confidence has taken a bit of a battering, particularly when you see the other clubs sign these players. But I'm still hopeful, and I do think we are looking to rectify what we did last season, which was sign lots of players for a squad. I don't think we're doing that. I think we'll probably sign 1 or 2, as I said. The thing that makes me lack a little bit of confidence with it is that he is apparently in no hurry to make a decision, which is prerogative. Why should he rush any decision? Why should any one of us rush a decision on our careers for anybody in particular? But it does make me wonder, the longer it goes on with West Ham's record of closing out deals, the longer there is for another club to come in and poach him, basically.
Yeah, the thing with being patient or waiting for Hernandez would be like, it's not just the other club come in. it's who do you miss out on in between? Because if you're sort of waiting for Hernandez, this reminds me of Baka. We were waiting for Baka last year. We're sort of waiting for an answer, still waiting for an answer. While we were waiting for an answer, there's a couple of players that we could have got moved elsewhere because we were waiting for Carlos Baka to make up his mind. And that's what made me feel waiting for Hernandez. Do we wait for him? We might miss out on a couple of players. Or do we go for him? Or do we sort of ignore him and go get the other players? But then Hernandez thinks, well, I will come to West Ham, but we've already spent the money, etc. It's a hard one, but we'll wait and see. On your list, is he above or below Giroud and Iheanacho? Which one? If those were your three, which one where would he be?
Yeah, if they were all the same age, he'd be the top, because I do think he's the most natural finisher out of the lot. If you start taking age into the equation, then that's a mitigating factor. Then you have to go with Iheanacho on that score, but and who possibly has a bit more promise and a bit more potential. But guaranteed, they're all good strikers. If we got any one of those, it would improve the team. If we got two of those, wow, that really would be something very, very special indeed. Obviously, the rumour was as well that Everton were interested in Giroud, but now, I mean, they're just buying everybody that's available. If it moves and breathes, you've got a pulse, they'll buy it really, won't they? But I think the rumour is that Wayne Rooney might be going back to Everton. Now, you'd imagine if they bought Wayne Rooney, are they going to buy Wayne Rooney and Giroud? You've really got two players who aren't particularly mobile then, because Wayne Rooney's just not as quick and nimble striker, is he? He's put on a few pounds and he's played a lot of games, so you'd imagine he would sort of link the play more, maybe not be a target man, but play just behind one quick striker. Well, I'd say if you were going to play two strikers, then let's play Giroud, even though he's a slightly different player, he'd play behind one quick striker. So would they sign Rooney and Giroud? I'm not so sure. I think if they sign Rooney, it helps our cause, that's for sure.
Well, we'll wait and see. Top today is that Leicester want quite daily instead of Iheanacho. They've turned their attention quite a bit fed up waiting about. But we'll wait and see, I suppose. Iheanacho is still my number one target. I don't think anyone will overtake him. He's the one I want. I don't care about the buyback clause. I want him. But let's talk about the other guy. I've got a feeling I've got a feeling we're going to sign this guy, Gonzo. I think the 3,000 mentioned, I think we might. The aim is to get one of them plus Modeste, Walcott. I think they're all in that bracket. The big ticket player. And I think there's two players below them. One is Batshuayi on loan, and the other guy is Andre Gray. And I think we're going to end up with him. I've just got a feeling. What's your thoughts on Andre Gray? We've not really discussed him much but it seems to be that there's more.
Well, we did discuss him. We discussed him quite a few months ago. It was one of our left of field ones. We did a whatever show we were doing, a transfer show or something like that. And he was a left of field choice at that time. I think he's a decent striker. I think he's a good striker. I think people are a little bit downbeat about him because people are expecting bigger signings than him. So I think when you're expecting Iheanacho or Batshuayi or something like that, and you end up with Andre Gray, it's disappointment. But I still think Andre Gray can score goals in the Premier League, but he's not necessarily going to be our top striker. So really the question is, does he want to come and be second or third choice? So make no mistake about it, we need a second or third choice because Sakho's injured, or he often is injured. Andy Carroll is often injured. Fletcher possibly might not make the grade. Martinez is rumoured to be going out on loan somewhere else again. You could make a case for suggesting actually not only do we need two strikers, we probably need three of them. So if he came in, I wouldn't be disappointed. But if he came in as our main marquee striker and that was as good as it got, then that would not be good enough at all.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same as you. If he was a second striker, fine enough. He scored 9 last season, a few repairs, but he was fit all season. The only games he misses because of his homophobic tweets from 5 years ago. Does that worry you, actually? I've seen a few people say they don't want him here because of those tweets. Does his homophobic tweets from 2012 put you off at all, or is it a case of it was 5 years ago, draw a line under it, he's been punished? I think everyone is allowed to make mistakes in life. I think
I think if I suddenly was propelled into fame at some point and I suddenly learned how to control a football, and at 43 years of age I started playing professional football, as unlikely as it may be, I'm pretty sure if you dug around at some of the things that I'd said when I was 18, 19, 20 or whatever, there'd be some, you know, some pretty bad stuff in there. There's no doubt about it. Did I mean it? No, but I mean, it's you say a lot of stuff when you're that age.
Well, you were homophobic when you were 20. Is that what you're saying?
I wasn't homophobic. Funny enough, you know this. I used to be a card magician. I used to be a card magician. I used to work all over the place. No, and I'll tell you what, and I used to work in a theatre. There's one place you can't be homophobic. It's in a theatre. No, I don't mean necessarily homophobic. Far from it. But you know, whatever you might have, just anything. I don't want to go back and suggest what I might have said. All I'm saying is, I come from an age where all my stuff when I was 18, 19, 20 is not documented on the internet. Do you know what I mean? I was able to be a teenager and be naughty and do what, just basically be a teenager and misbehave and say what I want and do what I want and drink what I want and sleep with who I want and all that sort of thing without it being dragged up and thrown at me years and years later, you know. So he might have just been being flash in front of his mates. I don't know. I didn't read the tweets. Obviously, if he is a nasty guy and he is homophobic, of course we don't want him there. If he made one mistake and he regrets it, and since he's been educated, he's broadened his horizons, he's got some new friends or whatever, then you just let it go. You let it go.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Actually, I think we'll sign 2 strikers. I've got a feeling he's going to be the second one. The problem is, it's not a problem. There's 2 scenarios. Either one, we sign the big guy, then Gray, which is fine. And this is where the problem scenario arises. We sign Gray first. The fans will kick off because they won't think, okay, that's a second striker signed. Who's the main one? They're going to think Gray is the striker signed. And I think there's going to be a wave of negativity and we sign this guy first. So I think fans, if we do sign this guy first, I think they just need to keep calm a little bit and realise that there's still money in the pot. We've only spent 15 million that's been quoted at, and there's still strikers available. I keep saying this. I've said this the last 2 weeks now. None of the strikers we want have moved yet. Giroud's still at Arsenal, Iheanacho's still at City, Batshuayi's still at Chelsea. They're still at their original club. We haven't missed out on anyone yet, so we just need to sort of keep calm a little bit. But Andre Gray, I think he's going to be a West Ham player next season. Just got a little feeling. Lacazette signed for Arsenal. Good news, Gonzo?
Yeah, terrific. If it's good news, if we get Giroud off the back of it, I'm a bit surprised. It's very un-Wenger-like. If I was an Arsenal fan, I'd be really, really pissed off, I've got to say, because it's taken them to miss out on the Premier, on the top 4 for them to get their arse into gear, basically. I know it's not an Arsenal show, but it has taken that. He is so reluctant to spend money, that manager. Bearing in mind they're meant to always have 100 million in the bank at all times. And so, yeah, so I mean, well, whatever. Will it impact on the Premier League? It might make the title race a bit more interesting, that's for sure. But it's only good news if we get Giroud, as to who finishes ahead of Man U or Arsenal or Chelsea. I don't care, really.
Yeah, we'll find out. I think we'll find out in the next week or so. They'll be back at pre-season now. They'll be good off on their pre-season tours. I don't know where Arsenal are going. I don't really care, but they're going happy around the world. There's no point in dragging someone that you intend on selling all the way around there when you could just leave at home and try and flog him for 25 million or whatever and get someone else. But we'll wait and see. Right, Feghouli, this is an interesting one. We spoke about Feghouli before, but when we were discussing Feghouli about selling him, it wasn't for just 4.5 million euros. It was at least double that. But while it's no surprise he's been linked with a move away, Gonzo, you're surprised at the low price tag.
That did surprise me, yeah. But apparently the manager doesn't fancy him. Heard it from 2 separate people as well. So, and it's just clearing of the decks thing. So, well, whatever you said, we sold Nord, so we got Nordvite for free. Sold him for 8 million. The agent kept 4. We got 4, so we got 4 million from that. I think Valencia's gone for 6. There's 10 million. Well, so we sell him for 4 or 5, 14, 15 million for 3 players, plus a lot of money saved off the wage bill. I just wonder if they're just getting, so, you know, look, take care of the pennies and the pounds take care of themselves. I just wonder if they're, you know, getting these 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 million pounds in here, there, and everywhere, building it up. They might do the same with Snodgrass. All of a sudden, if we had, let's say, we started the transfer window with 35 million to spend, which is generally what we've spent the last 2 or 3 seasons. All of a sudden, then we've got, you know, 50, 60 million pounds to spend. So maybe that's it. But it did seem weird that it was so low. As you said, it would have been rumoured to be higher before, but maybe it's just too tempting. Someone they got on a free, 4 million a year later, he wasn't a guaranteed starter.
I'd keep him. I mean, even if it was €8 million or whatever, I'd still be saying, what's the point? Because you're not going to replace him for that cheap. There's no way you're going to find someone suitable that we know can do good for that cheap, unless he's like 33 years old or something. Jonathan Walters is away to Burnley. That's why I think we'll get great as well. They're saying Jonathan Walters. Thank God he's leaving, because I'm glad it takes him out of our short list. I bet he's on that list somewhere with Peter Crouch. I'm glad Jonathan Walters is gone. But he's 3 million. Like, the guy's like 34 or something. And he's 3 million. This is the rate Premier League players are. You're never replacing the goalie for this cheap. No way you're replacing him. And at times last season, he pissed me off a lot. I thought there was a lack of effort in some games. I thought there was a lack of footballing ability in some games. There was a lack of standing up and being counted. But, other side of the coin, there's plenty of games where he showed good ability. The last game of the season, he was man and match by a clear mile, in my opinion. And if you take away Feghouli, that means Antonio has to play right wing. Now, while everybody wants that, Willis would be very wise to have an option in his armour, in his artillery, on a match day, which allows him to make a sub to Feghouli right wing and move Antonio, whether it's left wing against a weak right back, whether it's up front alongside another striker when we're chasing a game. Antonio and Lanzini are the 2 players. That's Willis's key chess pieces. That's his queens, if you like, where game's not going right. Those are the 2 players you should be moving to get more out of them.
Yeah, I think there's a winger coming in though, and as you know, I've thought that for some time, because I thought we needed one, and particularly I do think there's a left winger coming in. So if they're going to let Feghouli go, then that would only reinforce what I believe to be happening. So if he goes, I think there will be someone else coming in. So that little tactical switch that you just said then would still probably happen.
But we need a left winger anyway, even if Feghouli stays.
Yeah.
The left winger. But then if there's a left winger that comes in, but then that's another player going out of position to play Antonio's role, to play Antonio. I just think it would be daft to sell Feghouli. I'd be disappointed if he goes as well, especially when you've got my fellow countryman who's next to absolutely useless on more wages, just sticking around. I don't want to see him, so we'll sell Feghouli. I mean, more chance of seeing Snodgrass, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think you're right on that, yeah.
So would you sell him then, before we move on, Feghouli, €4.5 million, would you sell him?
With my knowledge that I have now, no. However, if you were to suddenly show me a plan that said, hold on, we're going to sell this player, and we'll bring in X, Y, Z, then I might be for it. But as it stands at the moment, we're just not seeing anybody come in, and we're seeing lots of players leave. So, I mean, there was even somebody today on the forum who suggested that the odds were quite favourable for us getting relegated. And of course, if you looked at it now, we're just selling so many players, that wouldn't be good. But as I said, I can't believe that the owners would be so silly as to sell everybody and not replace them. So I think there'll be others coming in, and I think if we can't get a better winger than Sofiane Feghouli, then we really we really have to look at our scouting.
I think that's a bit harsh. I think Feghouli is our second choice right winger. He's a squad player. I think he's a decent enough ability. But the other thing is, he's our best crosser of the ball. He is our best crosser, and we do end up signing Giroud, I think we're a bit stupid selling our best crosser and bringing in someone who's decent.
I totally agree. I totally agree about the crossing. I was going to say it earlier as well. And when I saw him pre-season, I couldn't believe how good his crossing was. Fact of the matter is, we don't actually play that way, really. We do not really play a system that gets our wingers in to put over a stream of crosses. I've seen it so many times. Andy Carroll has been on the pitch and he's been dropping deep, trying to link up play, doing all the sorts of things you don't want Andy Carroll to do. And then only when it's been absolutely desperate, he's gone up there. And then, we don't play to the strengths. If we were going to play to strengths and actually play to the wingers, supply the wingers get the crosses over and play to one target man, I'd totally agree. But I don't think a big target man on his own in the single system really suits the way Bilic wants to play, which is counter-attacking and springing very, very quickly.
Perhaps so. Well, we'll part that one. We'll wait and see if anything comes of it. But that's the rumour. Really, to Galatasaray for €4.5 million. Eder Valencia's gone, pretty much. Just a little bit of paperwork left to do. Gonzo, 6 million. I think it was about €7 million, 6 million quid.
Yeah.
Tough luck, really, isn't it? Thank you for the goals. Thank you for the memories. Good luck. See you later.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thanks for the goal against Bournemouth and the one against Hull. Lovely. It was. And thanks for the effort. He put in plenty of effort. He never shirked. He never, like you said with Faguli, you never looked at Valencia at any point and thought he's not putting a shift in. He put a shift in. And but yeah, he was lacking some basic footballing skills. So yeah, I mean, we needed to get rid of him. He's on quite big wages as well, and he only would have come back and sulked because obviously he's a star man. He's the star man for Ecuador. He's their top player, and when you are the star man and used to being worshipped by a whole country, really, which is what he is, you don't want to be second choice for your club. You want a star man for your country, and you want to be starring for whatever club you play for. So it'll do him some good as well.
Well, Julio Eder Valencia, the move should be confirmed over the next couple of days. 6 million quid, can't sniff at that. It's a decent enough price for someone who didn't really feature in your plans, etc. Right, moving on to some more quicker news, and we'll start taking some questions for you. But before we do, next season, our Hammer Chat votes that we do before and after every single home game, the prices are remaining the same. We sold out every single weekend game last season, but we're not touching the price at all. As we always say, we're chasing the experience, not the dollar. Well, that's how we do it at Hammer Chat anyway, so they're not changing. Talking about prices for tickets, Band 5 season ticket. If you're on the waiting list and you're ringing up to get a season ticket, Band 5 season tickets are now sold out. And so it's all the lower tier except the 1966 club. That was as of yesterday. Funny that, Gonzo, and the big expensive big box seats are still available on the lower tier.
It's funny. It's almost as if somebody might have predicted that at some point a few weeks ago. Yeah.
The club have got another friendly. It's just over. It's under 2 weeks' time, actually. It's in Austria on the 17th of July. Pre-season starts today. Jack Sullivan made his first signing as manager-director. He brought someone in from Everton. And, well, that's about it. Lastly, before we take the questions, Mr. David Gold on TalkSport. I take it you heard his phone-in chat he had with him?
I think that's what broke my phone, actually. I was trying to download the thing from TalkSport and it all went into meltdown. Yeah, I did listen to it.
Do you think people kicked off about him saying that he needs to find the money? Do you think it's been taken out of context? I think it's been taken out of context.
I totally agree. I think he actually meant to say we will find the money. Not it almost the way the vernacular he used and the way the words he chose made it sound as if there was no money, but they were going to find some. I think he was trying to say, we know we need strikers. We will find money. We will pay for them. I thought that was what he was saying. It's the other day when you had the thing about, you were saying about ex-employee and the stuff, and I said at the time, and I look, he's a guy in his 80s in poor health. I just think, you have to sort of, it's also, you've got to take that into account. I mean, I certainly know what, I know people of that age sort of thing. And they listen, he's not running the club as well. He's a major shareholder. He's been a big part in everything, but he's not got a hands-on day-to-day role. David Sullivan deals with all that stuff. I'm quite sure he has briefings and phone calls with him, but I wouldn't worry too much about what he said. He clearly likes to likes to do an interview, clearly likes being on the radio. I would be surprised if Talk Sport phoned him up and said, because they know it's easy. If you're running a radio station, you're going to phone people up, are going to give you comments. I think it's money for old rope with him, really. So I wouldn't be too bothered by what he said on that score.
I think it was taken out of context. It was quoting. David Gold just said, we need to pay the money. So I listened to it and I thought, I barely even noticed he said, we need to pay the money because it was that minimal. Then when I did listen to it, it's a bit like, if something happens in your house, your phone's broke, you have to buy a new phone, you think, I need to find the money. It's not that you've not got it, it's just you have to pay for it, but you don't really want to. And I think what David Gold was trying to say is 25 million, you don't really want to pay 25 million for players these days. The wages are quite expensive, but we'll pay it. We just have to pay it, so we'll find the money. I think that's what he was saying, really. I think it was a shame, actually, that it was sort of blown out of proportion.
Well, I also think if you take it into context, just said, we know what we've done wrong in the past. He was pretty much saying that, so we know we've got to go and do this. So, yeah, the proof of the pudding is in the tasting. And they have to go and do that now.
Yeah, the problem is, though, they've done well, not all of them done well, just to shut off, but he had to go on the radio. I know he likes doing them, etc., but he didn't have to do that Talk Sport interview with them, so he could have saved himself a lot of grief by just keeping it zip. Sullivan's kept it zip, Brady's kept it zip, the kids have kept it zip, but David Gold has gone and done that. It's a shame, really, but no harm done. He didn't make any promises, etc. And it's question time, guys. So anyone on the live stream, please watch some playback live stream, got a live chat box. This is where those guys fire in questions and we rattle through them. But while they're doing that, Gonzo, have you seen the post from the West? This is a mouthful. It's the West Ham United Supporters Independent Advisory Group.
Oh, that Ruisa thing. Is that what it's called? Ruisa? Is that what it's called? The one that they have the meetings at the Supporters Club. Is that right?
No, you're talking about the Supporters Club. I'm talking about the Supporters Group, the independent.
I don't know. I'm
basically, they started last season because West Ham were the only club in the Premier League that didn't have like a fans group.
Yeah.
And they because of the season ticket prices are different for new and renewers, if you like. So they contact the club, going, "What's going on with the kids' prices? Or is this what's going to be the prices next season?" And the club refused to say yea or nay. They got pushed by the sounds of it to say, "Can you confirm that this season ticket holders next year are not going to be hit with a massive increase of tripling the price of some kids' tickets?" And they refused to deny it. They didn't confirm it, they didn't deny it either. And then they basically said that the reason they've gone up in price is because they're rectifying the abuse. The £99 kids season ticket holders got abused. Now, funny enough, if I remember correctly, Callum Brady, when we brought that up in the first meeting, Callum Brady practically denied it and said, "What he's on about is it's not being abused."
Yeah.
But for me, this is where, sorry, they are being abused, but it's the club's fault that you put the £99 season ticket hall and kids ones on and hand them out without any sort of audits or identification required. You're the one that handed them out, but now you're punishing genuine fans, because there's going to be genuine fans that do get punished. They're now going to get punished because of the club's original mistake, and I don't like things like that, Gonzo.
Well, I'll be really annoyed if that happened. As you well know, I've got a £99 season ticket, which my sons, my daughters, whoever wants to come. And how many times last season? 5, 6, 7, 8? Did I bring somebody? We went to the ticket office later on the season. We did it online, did it on phone, and we got it upgraded. And we paid the extra to turn that child ticket into an adult ticket. So, for people like myself who have done what you're supposed to do, I'd be very, very annoyed if I got hit in the pocket because their regulations weren't quite tight enough to stop an abuse of the system.
Yeah, it frustrates me. They said they were going to do an audit this summer. I've not seen any audit being done. I've not heard of any fan being contacted asking to prove that they are a certain age. So they're also not doing that audit like they first said. But anyway, let's move on to questions. I'm going to start with this one that I've started with the last couple of weeks. Sam, you asked us 2 weeks ago. I asked you last week. How worried are you?
Hello, Sam. What was I? 6 last week, was I?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still 6.
I think I can't remember what I said last week.
I think you started on 3. You might have been up to 4 or 5. You're climbing the scale. I'm quite.
I'm probably at 4 again. I don't know why. I think I'm calmer this week than last. I think if Onyekuru give me a smack on the bum and I got a little bit but I think I've calmed down now. And I don't know. The Hernandez one just seems quite realistic in a way. I think Giroud's quite optimistic, and I think when we go for someone like him, Everton, etc., I think man, I'm just going to throw money and get him. But with Hernandez, it just feels to me that while some Champions League clubs will want him, I'm not sure their country will want him. I don't think you'll get Champions League football in England. I don't think you'll get it in Spain. So if he wants Champions League football, I think he's going to have to go to a slightly lesser foreign league.
Sure.
He's got to decide what does he want. Does he want the league or does he want the Champions League? And I think he might plump for the league. I don't know why. I've just got a lot of feeling.
Well, he'll also get more wages in England because England pay the highest wages apart from China or silly stuff. So
I've just got a funny feeling, which leads on to the next question from Jonathan, saying, "Who do you think we will sign?"
It's funny because it sort of ties in with the first question, which is how confident are you, or whatever, how worried are you? But actually, when I think of the press conference, I find it quite hard to visualise any of the players we've been linked with sat next to Bilic with a West Ham shirt, holding it up with their name on the back. I find it really hard to visualise any of them. It sounds depressing, doesn't it? Any of them, apart from Andre Gray, as you said. Troy Deeney, you said Leicester were after Troy Deeney. I can imagine Troy Deeney at a West Ham press conference they unveil him, but I'm really struggling. The day I see Iheanacho, Hernandez, Giroud, someone like that, will be the time that I think, hold on, this stadium move, this is starting to work. We are starting to bid for better players than we traditionally have had.
Yeah, I think we're going to get Gray and Hernandez. I don't know why. I think the image right thing is stopping Iheanacho. That wasn't there. I think we'd have a chance with him. I think City are doing it wrong, though. City are worrying about this buyback clause. I think there's quite a lot of Premier League clubs after him. I don't know why they haven't sparked a bidding war, truth be told, because that price could go through the roof very quickly, especially when they can see Everton throwing their money about. I don't know why they wouldn't use that to spark a bidding war and get his price up to 30 million odd, because I think some clubs will pay it. Clubs will get desperate. And if you can have him, highest bidder wins, a lot of clubs will panic a little bit and think, right, we have to get in for this guy because he's guaranteed to be leaving. We don't know if Giroud's leaving. He's now definitely leaving. Let's get in there. But I think Hernandez, Gray, combined fee 28 million. I think that suits the owners actually. 28 million for the two strikers. They're both Premier League proven.
Yes, yeah.
Hernandez did it with Man U. So I think it fits what they're looking for. It fits their criteria, fits their wage budget. The reason I think it'll fit their wage budget, I think we'll have a David Sullivan special with Hernandez where he gets a big sign-on fee or lots of bonuses, but his basic wage sits in line with the rest of the team, not to piss off the other players at the club. But we'll wait and see. Daniel's asking, do you think ex-West Ham employee will make his comeback?
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah, for sure.
Parashenko says, apart from Lucas Neal and Sam Byron, we don't sign anybody that there is competition from other clubs for. Why is that?
Sorry, say that again. Why back Byron?
So he's basically saying, apart from Byron and Lucas Neal, why don't we sort of beat other teams' two players?
Okay.
We stole Byron off Everton, if you like. So how come we don't do it with anyone else?
I just don't think we're very wily. I think we're good at identifying players. I think we've done very well at identifying players. As I've said before, people like Obiang and Masuaku and Kiete. I think there's a number of players who cost between 5 and 10 million who we've done very, very well to identify. I think when you go to a club like Anderlecht or you go to a club like Sampdoria, then you can do business with them and you can make a deal with them. I think when you are then dealing with other clubs who are then have other people, maybe people like Daniel Levy or other people who are perhaps slightly more experienced in the transfer market from other clubs, I don't think we're quite wily enough and on the level of some of those other guys to get in, get the deal done. I mean, you've only got to look at Man City. I know they've got money. Man City, bang, deal's done. Just no build up to it at all. Didn't even know it was happening. Funny enough, I'll tell you who else is naive. Edward Woodward. That's a mouthful at Man United, because you hear ages before who they're interested in, and he struggles to get deals over the line. It's a very similar thing. So they got the guy at Inter Milan. Is his name Persic or something like that? Is that his name?
Yeah.
So they didn't quite happen. They bid the 30 million and bid another 35, and Inter Milan said, no, we want 44. So now we hear through the news today that Manchester United are about to go back with another bid. Well, do you know what? Those clubs, Chelsea today have signed Rudiger, who's a really good player, central defender. Didn't hear anything about it. All right, you might have had a little stiff, but bear it in mind, Chelsea don't say, oh, we're about to go in for Rudiger and we're going to bid this so they can accept. There's not all that. The business is just done, and it's done quick. And I think at the moment we're a lot more Edward Woodward than we are, how Manchester City do things, basically.
I think that's a bit of a myth, to be honest. I know you said you didn't hear about Man City players, but I think all their signings have been quite well documented before they sign them. I think we all see them. If you look at the right places, I suppose. I think that's key to it, know where to look or looking at that certain things. I think the Man City ones, you could foresee them all coming, actually. Same with the Chelsea one. It was about for a few days. It wasn't so up and open. But then Arsenal did it with Lacazette. How long's that been dragging on?
No, but we know they're bad. All right, you might know, but you follow every other team. The rest of it. If someone like me can find out weeks and weeks and weeks before that someone's in for somebody, then they do have problems. He's definitely wet behind the ears, Edward Woodward. Whereas, because I don't follow Manchester City's news or everyone's transfer rumours day in, day out, it's all right. A couple of days, I've quite missed it. I'm just saying some of them get their business done and wrapped up a lot more quietly than others.
Well, I just don't think West Ham's in players. There's no unity football. There's a lot of media attention around West Ham. We always seem to be in the papers for some reason. There's nothing happening. They'll try and make something happen. We do pay the wages, but we're in London, so we are quite attractive. But I'm not sure. I just think other clubs sort of lack of vision, maybe. Our lack of vision. When we were to say to a player now, oh, we're going to have Champions, the player must laugh in our face and go, oh, you bollocks. I'm going to have Champions football. Well, Everton went to them today and said, look, we're getting Champions League. They'd probably look at them and go, actually, you bloody are. Look what you're doing. But if you went to them and said, we're going to have top half football, we're going to try and get Europe, you might do that. I think there's maybe a lack of vision or something, a lack of a plan, which that will take me on to Mike's question, which says, do you think the lack of philosophy, we've both said this about Bilic and West Ham, there's no philosophy, there's no style of play. Do you think that is having an impact on the transfers?
No, I don't. I don't. I think at the point, I don't even think we're getting to the point where the players are sitting down with the manager at the moment. I think Bilic is charming enough that when you put a player to sit down next to him, he can probably get that deal over the line. I don't think it's going to fall down by him having a lack of a system and being able to say, look, you will play here and this is how we're going to play. I'm pretty sure he would say all the right things. I'm pretty sure Bilic intends to have a philosophy. It just doesn't seem to have any consistency of play or any consistency of intent in how he wants them to play. I just think I don't even think we're getting to that stage yet. So I don't think it's falling down for that reason.
Yeah, I have a different outlook on this. Instead of saying that because we lack philosophy, we're struggling in the transfer market, I think we're struggling to have a philosophy because of the transfer market. Because Bilic is getting odd shapes to work with, he can't fit them all in because, sort of like, that Valletta and Byram, they're not identical right backs. So how is Bilic meant to say my right back will play like this? His two right backs are bloody different. So one player's got to play one way, the other one player's got to play another way. So I think the transfers actually don't help the philosophy. I think funny enough, for you watching, I sat down with Tim and Tom and we spoke about Bilic. We covered this quite drastically because we're talking about lack of cohesion with Bilic, Sullivan and Henry, and like how them three really need their heads banging together. So we'll go check out. We'll put the link in below. Have a look at that because we've got quite a few questions. We're running out of time. we've covered this a lot, Gonzo. I'll ask you very quickly. I'm not going to speak about it. Adam saying, do you want to see youth? If so, which players would you like to see?
Yeah, I would like to see the youth. I just wonder if we're getting rid of these players that actually, you know, like we will have a standard first team. I'm just hopeful that they're getting rid of a lot of the dead wood. We're going to lose 5 or 6 of these players and replace them with 3, and those additional spaces are going to be taken by the youth players. Nathan Holland looks a real prospect for me. Queener looks good, but I'm a fan of those sort of players, tricky players. They're good, but Declan Rice is obviously in pole position, as we know, with Oxford and Burke going out. So it'd be nice to see him. He looks like he's got some leadership qualities as well. I don't think Martinez is going to get much of a chance. I said it earlier on the forum. I think there was a time last season where everybody was out, really, or not scoring. Zaza couldn't score. Ayew was injured. Carroll was injured. Sacco was injured. Fletcher has not really looked like he could do anything. I think if there was any point where you think, oh, okay, we've got a guy in the reserves who's stuck in 13 goals in 13 appearances, we can't score a goal. He had nothing to lose then, Bilic. If he was going to do it, he would have done it then. So I don't think we're going to see much of Martinez. So, yeah, the 2 I mentioned, Queener and Holland, would be nice to see.
Everyone knows mine by now, Mr. Holland, but actually just check out the Bilic video that we did, and we covered the youth in that as well. My thoughts are on there. Now, this discussion is really good on the forum right now. So go on our forum at hammerschat.com if you want to know more about Mark Noble, because there's no other discussions on there. There's an argument. There's big arguments. There's Noble, don't play Noble people, and then there's play Noble, then there's people in the middle. There's good debate going on. But to put it into context, 3 or 4 people in this chat have said Mark Noble. That was quite popular. And we've got one more video coming out now, first series, and it's about Mark Noble. But Gonzo, just briefly, what's your thoughts on it? Because you're in the video on Mark Noble. But briefly, what's your thinking next season?
I think Mark Noble's going to play lots of games. There's always room for Mark Noble in the squad, and there's always going to be room for Mark Noble in the team. I just don't think he's a guaranteed starter. I don't know many that are. I think Lanzini, Antonio, Reid. There's just, you know, I think Obiang had a real breakthrough season last year. So it's Obiang plus someone else, maybe 2 others, depending on what system you play. So Mark Noble's going to play 25, 30, 35 games next season in all competitions, but he might not be a guaranteed starter. Bilic has shown that he will drop people as well. So I don't know. I don't think if Obiang and one other, Kiete or whoever, get in and have a good little run and we get some good results, Mark might find it a little bit tough. But he's Mr. West Ham, so saying we need those people like him and Ginge. We need them in and around the team and in that dressing room.
I think he's our most underappreciated player sometimes. I do sometimes think he gets a hard year. I'm not saying he should start every game. I think it's sort of, like you said, there's only 3 or 4 players who are guaranteed starters, and it depends what system. I think he should play some games. If we're on the front foot at home, I think you could probably sacrifice him and put a slightly more forward-thinking player in there. But we're playing away from home, and it's a tough game where we're not going to see much of the ball. I think you need him, because when you've got the ball, you want to keep the bloody thing, and he's the best person in our team for doing that. I still think him and Lanzini are our 2 best passers in the team. But we'll wait and see. He's got a huge role to play. But you have to remember, he's playing the last few months of the season with a massive injury, really. So no wonder he struggled a little bit. But next season, everyone starts afresh next season for me. Even Robert Snodgrass every year. It's a clean slate for Robert Snodgrass. Last season gets forgotten about. Ian, he says, do you stand by your comments about Nigel Clough?
Listen, the comments, that freaking weasel, by the way, right? But anyway, right? Not you, Ian, by the way. Unless it is you, and in which case you are a weasel. No, I'm only joking. You said, do you want to keep Bilic? And I said yes, and then you said, hold on. So I had to think of someone left the field, and I said someone like Nigel Clough, who has done. I would not pick Nigel Clough to be our flaming manager. I'd try and go for someone big, someone as has left the field. And my point was, I don't think young English managers are getting much of a chance. And that's really the point. I think he's done a fantastic job wherever he's been. And I think he could handle big players. He will never get a chance because the people just don't. But I think he's a good manager. He plays football in the right way. But I don't want to lose Bilic. And it got all taken well out of context. People taking a third of my sentence and making a poll out of it. Ridiculous.
Geo Gonzo's car firmly in reverse there, steering away from the Nigel Clough building. Guy here says, that's his name by the way, I'm not just calling him Guy. Would you be happy to see a fit Sacco run out on the opening day of the season?
Yeah, I would. I would absolutely be happy to see him run out in the warm-up because it would mean it would be fit, okay? But if he starts, it means we're not signed any strikers, so I wouldn't be happy with that. Diafra Sakho can score goals in the Premier League. If he got fit and was around, I'd like to see Diafra Sakho getting fit, being on the bench and coming off the bench, and then we might actually get some money for him. But Diafra Sakho needs to be the fourth choice striker if he's gonna do anything, because he's got so much to prove. He was more injured than Andy Carroll last season. How many games did he actually play last season? It was absolutely ridiculous. So, yeah, a fit Diafra Sakho is a really decent Premier League player. But at the moment, he's just going to stand there and take his wages, give him half a season, and then hopefully someone comes and buys him and we get £5-6 million for him. That would be nice.
I'm giving up on him completely. If he was fully fit and comes well out of the start of the season, part of me will be wondering why we've not sold him in that time. They go, oh, can we not go rid of him then? It's not just his fitness and his injuries; it's his mental game. It's just the way I don't know. It's just him. I don't like his attitude. Can't stand people with his attitude. But I'd love him to prove it wrong. Like I said, please start for everyone next season. If he runs out fit, I'll hope he bangs in the hat trick and makes me admit that he was our man of match. However, I can't see it. Jonathan says, we'll speed these up because we're getting near the end. Jonathan says, are you getting worried about the lack of left-wing talk since Onyekuru and Traore sort of disappeared a little bit, hasn't it? Yeah,
Jonathan, I thought about that today, actually. It's funny you should say that. I thought it has all gone very, very quiet. We need one. As you would have been listening to all the show, you would have heard me spoke about it earlier on. Yeah, it has gone very quiet. We need more than just these two strikers, that's for sure. So I just wonder if we went in. Obviously, the Onyekuru thing has gone. So Traore was clearly a target for us, whether you rate him personally or not. He was a target. I just wonder if we went in with the 8-9 million with Barra. Barra did turn around and say, actually, that's 20, and now it's just gone. But if that's the case, and we're not going to buy him because it's too expensive, then we need to go and find another left winger.
I actually think we're doing the right thing here. I think we're keeping it quiet. I don't believe we've just keeping up at our first left wing. I don't believe we've gone for those two men. Oh, well, that's that then. Let's just forget about it. I don't think that's happening. I think we're still looking at them, don't know about it, which is fantastic. And I'd rather not know about it, to be honest. Well, we'd love to sit and discuss them. I'd rather the names just stayed hidden. We didn't hear about it. And then we see them on the official site now. So it's like, oh, how fantastic would that be? But I think we can be patient with the left wing. I don't think if we get two strikers in, I don't think we're going to get relegated because we never signed a left winger. I think we've got enough, assuming we don't sell Feghouli, I think we've got enough in the squad. We might have to play a little curveball and do that Masuaku Creswell link up on the left for a game or two. But we've got no European football to worry about. We've got enough players. I want to see a tight squad at West Ham next season. When you look at Tottenham, you look at Chelsea, they finished first and second in the league with two strikers in each club. You don't actually need a whole load of players. You just need a fit squad. And actually, sometimes using that too many players is a bad thing. So actually having little options sometimes can benefit you. And I think we'll be fine with that left winger.
And I think they're trying to do that. I do think that's what's happening. And I've still got faith and I've got belief that is what they're going to do. I'll tell you what, if it doesn't happen, then it's going to be absolute hell to pay. There really will be a meltdown. This show will be a meltdown. The forum will be a meltdown. Twitter, everything will be a meltdown if we don't sign any players. But I think that's what they're trying to do, what you said.
Jamie says, do you think we will have a cup run this season? We obviously want one. But are you confident we can get one?
Jamie, I'm confident every year, mate. I'm going to renew my away season ticket as did last year on the strength that we are going to the cup final, that we're going to go. And not just, I always say this, it's not just enough people say, oh, we want to day at Wembley. They don't want to day at Wembley. We want to go to Wembley and want to win a cup, win a cup. Geo's been very consistent with it. He wants to win a cup, but every season, the same thing. You look back at every preview, everything. I've been on the forum since 2007 in one guise or another. Every season, the same thing. Always confident. This year's our year. Sounds ridiculous, but I think we can. I really do.
I'm not that confident because he's got 1 year on his deal. He can't afford to take risks. He's going to get firmly, in my opinion, unless he wins a cup. That sort of automatically gives him a new contract, in my opinion. You can't get rid of a guy that wins you a trophy. But I think he's firmly going to get judged on one figure at the end of the season, and that is the points tally. And that equates to revenue. And I think if he was to sacrifice points to go for the cup and not manage,
but I think you can do both. Maybe not the League Cup, but I think certainly the FA Cup you can actually do both. I think it's structured and scheduled in such a way that actually it's not like playing like they do in Europe. Do you know what I mean? I don't think there's not that many rounds. I think it's possible to, it doesn't impact your league that much.
It depends. If you get a draw game in the FA Cup, you've then got midweek points, the replay and stuff. So it does depend. But it's also the luck of the draw. If you get a big team in the quarterfinals, then you can go out. I'm not very confident. I'm hopeful. It's what I want to see, but we will see. Very quickly then. Mike says, Ashley Fletcher, would you sell him or keep him? He's not giving you a loan option, by the way, but would you keep him or sell him?
He's a tough negotiator, Mike. Listen. I don't like to say this. I don't like to say it at all. I'm not sure Ashley Fletcher's going to make it as a top level striker for West Ham in the Premier League. I do think he's got some talent. I think he possibly could make it, but I think he's not going to do it. He's actually better off dropping down to the Championship or somewhere else and scoring some goals at a slightly lower level and then building his career up. Actually, I just don't think he's getting game time if he stays with us.
I think him or Martinez, one needs to stay and one needs to go loan. That's a fourth choice striker behind Andre Gray, Andy Carroll, Javier Hernandez. Last question. Hammer 1999 says, where does Dale Antonio start next season? Is he the answer to, you were discussing a left wing, could he be right into the left wing? Played there for Forest.
No more mucking around for Mikhail. No more mucking around. Right wing. Let's get the strikers in. I have to bet strikers. We've got a right back. He doesn't need to play at right back. That man has been so versatile and so good for 2 seasons for West Ham. He's done us every favour, but we now owe it to him to give him a season in his designated position to allow him every chance to get into that England team. Right wing for me.
Yeah, the same with me. Right wing. You know something? I'm actually dreaming of a striker with Ayew, Lanzini, and Antonio behind him. I think those 3 behind the striker will score goals. Them 3 have goals in them. But we can get a striker with goals in him. It makes you wonder. We could maybe end up going on that cup run after all with that forward at the thing. But this is the last question. Ian says, which clubs? Obviously, we can't compare ourselves to the top of the league. Which clubs should we be comparing ourselves to?
Well, Everton have gone now. So that club I would look at that actually seems to have ambition is Stoke, believe it or not. I think they're a relatively well-run club. I think they've got stability in management. They've got some flair players like Shaqiri. I think he can buy well. Hughes. I'd be happy to finish above Stoke, I've got to say. I'd certainly, there's others like newly promoted clubs. You've got to finish above them. Then you've got people like Swansea and other teams. We've got to finish above those teams, but I think there's a little group just under Everton, of which West Brom would perhaps be one of those. But then he got to 50 points, 45 points, didn't he? Sorry, Pulis, and got a nosebleed. So that's where we are. That's where we are right now. And until we go and propel ourselves above them by buying better players than they buy going, we buy £25 million strikers, we then naturally should go above Stoke and West Brom, basically.
I'll just read out the teams that the live chat are saying, because I think they're right here. Hammer 1999 says Southampton. Watsy says Stoke. Justin says Bournemouth. Clayton says Crystal Palace. Mark still says Everton. Jonathan says Burnley. So pretty much everybody kind of league club.
Yeah, sorry. Southampton's a good shout. I forgot about Southampton. They're a very well run club.
I'm surprised no one's actually mentioned Newcastle, to be honest, while they've only just come up.
They can't sign anyone, mate. They're worse than we are. They got, apparently he's got 80 million. He can't spend it.
I think we should not compare ourselves to anyone, really. I don't like this whole comparison game. I've seen someone say, "Oh, Huddersfield have spent 40 million now this summer," but it's easy when your wages are peanuts. You've got a lot of money when you come up to the Premier League and you've got little wages. Your money is massive, and they're not going after top strikers. They're going after mediocre, not mediocre. But
I'll tell you what, mate. I'll tell you now. I'll tell you what. We don't finish above Huddersfield. I bloody go again dressed in, I don't know. I'll go dressed as a teddy bear or in fancy dress or something stupid. I mean, we have to finish above Huddersfield.
Yeah, well, top 10. That's what we need to get to. Whoever finishes below us, unlucky, then there'll be one or two that do get in above us. But anyway, that'll be us for this evening. So make sure you hit the subscribe button if you enjoyed our chat. You made it to the end. Congratulations. Well done. And hit the like button while you're here. Drop a comment in the YouTube. I've been replying to them all over the last day. And like I said to you, we did a Billets chat. Check that out because the Mark Noble one's coming up. And we've got a new series. Believe it or not, we've actually got a new series coming out. Charlie's editing the first couple of videos for it this week. Once he's finally done that, he doesn't have a lot of time on his hands, so be nice to him. Once he's done that, we'll have a new series up. It's a good one, I think. So hopefully you'll enjoy it. Anyway, Gonzo, will we have a cup of tea soon? We might have a new striker soon.
We will. Whilst we're on shows, I'm going to do a you shout. What's it called? Your shout. I'm going to do your shout tomorrow. I've got 4 videos, looking for another couple of videos. Send them in, perhaps discuss something that myself and Geo have discussed today. I'll do it, edit it, and we'll have it out by tomorrow. So, and thank you very much for everyone that's been involved in that. Yes, hopefully we'll have a cup of tea next week, mate, and celebrate. I'm confident. Next 7 days we'll have a signing. I'm confident.
Anyway, my cup of tea's finished. This show's finished. Thank you for joining us and catch you later.